We learned over the weekend that the CIA has never changed, and they're still an organization hell-bent on assassinating anyone they feel could be a threat to their mission, including journalists like Julian Assange. Farron Cousins from the Trial Lawyer magazine joins me now to explains this new explosive report. As I read it, I got to tell you something. I started laughing because it's so ridiculous. First of all, let me point out, this is good reporting. Comes from Yahoo. Yeah. And I'm thinking maybe Yahoo is, they're serious about going toe-to-toe, with competition now. This is how they do it. Look, here's something where the CIA was planning on killing Assange. They had the assassination plan in place. Pick it up from there.
Yeah, what's really interesting about this is the assassination or the plot, the kidnap and all that. That's basically the middle of the story. Mm-hmm. And it's what everybody, gravitates toward because it is so extreme. So just to kind of put that part in a nutshell, you had Mike Pompeo, longtime CIA guy. Once he finally became the director under Donald Trump, he said, I'm going to use my power. And what I want to do more than anything is go after Julian Assange because he has been a thorn in my side. So Pompeo basically admits, I've got a personal vendetta against this man because he exposed
what an idiot he is.
Yeah.
He exposed what an idiot the little punk Pompeo is. And he is a total, utter fool. That is the simple truth.
Oh, yeah.
So Assange puts together Vault 7. In Vault 7, he's telling these stories about how incompetent. I mean, if you just take a look at it, and you conclude that the FBI, CIA, NSA is just this gaggle of a clown car group. And so it embarrasses them, right? It embarrasses them. He tells us that they're spying on Americans, and here's the proof.
Yeah, and further explains, here's how they hack into these secure messaging apps. Here's the ones they're targeting. Here is everything this organization is doing. And it's not just to track down the bad guys. They're doing it to you, average American, using these. Your information is vulnerable. They can come after you, and we've seen too many times. They have, and they always try to say it's an accident, but no.
They still have Pompeo on TV. Yeah. He's still a talking head on TV. The guy is a nut job. Trump knew he was a nut job when he put him in office. He would have had this, another 4 years of Pompeo, we had been a world war, there's no question. Let me tell you how crazy the plot is. I know, and this is what I laughed about. Okay, they said, okay, the Russians are coming to take him to Moscow. No proof of any of that, but they reduce it to the Russians are going to break him out of the embassy and fly him to Moscow. Now, Pompeo and the nuts around Pompeo said, we got a plan. When they drive him from the airport, we're going to crash a truck into his car, pull him out and kill him. And if we fail then, I swear I'm not making this up, we're going to have a gunfight in the streets of London. And if that doesn't work, and it gets away from us, we're going to shoot out the tires on the jet as it takes off. This is all in writing.
Well, and it's even scarier because this wasn't just, hey, what if they talked to British intelligence agencies and they got the go-ahead in Britain to be the ones to fire the guns because the U.S. said, listen, whoever fires the guns, since it's going to be in the UK, you've got to be a UK agent or officer. We want to avoid an international incident here, is what they said. So the Brits are going to have to fire the guns against the Russian spies who are allegedly going to smuggle Julian Assange out after Ecuador agrees to partner with Russia to give him immunity.
Russia. Look. I'm doing Russian television. We've been doing it, 7 years? Not one time has anybody told us to do a story. Let me just tell you how crazy this is. This all, follow the trail, this goes back to Hillary Clinton.
It does.
It's inescapable. This goes back to Hillary Clinton. She does the impossible. She loses to this buffoon Trump because she's such a terrible candidate. Nobody can accept that, so her handlers try to blame it on the Russians. And all of a sudden, now we know that was ridiculous. It was nonsense. As a matter of fact, Durham has proven that the whole story was created by Hillary Clinton's lawyer, who is now has to testify. But the ugliness is that the deep state NSA, CIA, FBI was all part of this. They were willing to start a Cold War with Russia to save face of this moron woman, Hillary Clinton, that couldn't beat Donald Trump.
Well,
that's the headline to me.
Well, see, and that takes us back to, really the beginning of the story, because Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, all of that really exploded onto the scene in 2010. So Obama's president. At the time, they say, okay, he's published this video that somebody in the government leaked to him of U.S. soldiers basically killing civilians over in Iraq. Mm-hmm. And Obama had enough good sense in 2010. Now, it changes as the time frame goes on. He said, listen, we can't do anything. This
but give him credit. Give Obama credit.
Right.
Obama looked at what the CIA was doing and said, are you guys crazy? There's something called the First Amendment in journalists. So at least at the beginning, he could tolerate what it was intolerable to him what these nuts were doing. Yeah. So pick it up from there.
And then it changes. So we got a couple years of Obama saying, you're not going to touch the guy. You're not going to do it.
God bless him.
Right. 2013 rolls around, Edward Snowden.
Yes.
His information, WikiLeaks publishes it, shows the U.S. is spying on our citizens. And at that point, Obama says, well, okay, you know what? Let's look into this guy. We got to be super careful. We got to make sure there's no First Amendment issues. We're not going to do anything outside of, what's definitely legal for us to do. Let's keep an eye on him. 2016, he publishes the DNC emails.
Yeah.
At that point, Obama's still president.
Democratic Party goes crazy. This is going to cost Hillary the election. Hell, she'd already lost the election. She was a bad candidate, and her handlers were even worse.
Right. And so at that point, once the DNC emails got leaked, the government under Obama said, all right, enough's enough. We're going to start tailing WikiLeaks employees or their followers. We're going to confiscate electronic devices. We're going to fully investigate this guy. Then, of course, Trump wins. In comes Pompeo.
But
and he's got his
I tell you what
grudge.
Obama did not do. He didn't let these nut jobs put together a plan to kill Assange.
Right.
I mean, let's talk about the difference between Trump and Obama. At least Obama said, are you guys nuts? No, you're not going to kill Assange. And then Pompeo comes in.
Well, and another part of that, too, is you actually did have members of the Trump administration, according to this, reporting here, that told him, they said, look, Trump, you can't go along with this because if you do this obviously is an assault on the press. But where does it stop? That was the question they asked. You're going to start, you go after CNN.
In other words, within the deep state, there were some people with brains.
Yeah, at least
even though you had the Pompeo types running around like crazy people. Within the FBI and the CIA and the NSA, there were people that said, are you crazy? You can't do this. And that makes me feel a little better, I hope. A little bit. We got to go to the next topic. President Biden recently called the CEO of Pfizer his friend, but the company's actively trying to tank Biden's domestic agenda to lower drug prices. That's just the beginning of it. Look, this Pfizer company, they have more lawsuits for fraud. They have more lawsuits for defective products. They have killed more people in this country with bad medicine. And this is his friend he's embracing. Yeah. The Democrats are trying to say, well, we need to lower drug prices. And you got Pfizer spending millions to stop that. This is Biden's calling this guy his friend.
Yeah, Albert Bourla, the CEO's name of Pfizer. And the problem is right now, sure, Pfizer, you did good on the vaccine. We're very grateful for that. Yeah, wonderful work there. That does not excuse any of their behavior in the past. And it sure as hell doesn't excuse the fact that they're spending millions right now trying to fight this drug price bill, which isn't even a highly effective bill. Let's be honest here. This is only for people who are on Medicare.
Yes.
The government's only going to negotiate drug prices on Medicare, and now it could be only on certain drugs covered by Medicare.
You got 18 million people that can't even afford their medication that they have to take.
Yeah.
Now, this friend that Biden said this is his pal, he's his pal because he gave him a lot of money in the election.
Yeah.
But look, you don't associate and say this guy is my pal and he stands for it. This guy doesn't stand for everything that's right. I'm telling you, just Google the history of Pfizer Drug Corporation. You will see more fraud lawsuits. You will see more injury lawsuits where their drugs and their products have killed people. But, okay, let me come back to the beginning. God bless them. for trying to develop a vaccine that
Right.
seems to be a successful vaccine.
Yeah.
Seems to be working. So I guess that's one reason to be a friend.
Well, exactly, but Biden also knows their history. He knows that Albert Bourla here is not a hero in the. Bourla didn't develop anything.
No, he didn't.
Not a thing. I mean, those vaccines.
Most of it was subcontracted even out of
Right.
Pfizer.
And so, for him to say that this guy is my friend, while at the same time he is paying the money that's going to cost Biden and the Democrats dearly in the midterms, because if they don't deliver something like this drug price bill for the American public, they're gone. And then the next 2 years, he's a lame duck because he's not going to win or he's not going to pass a single thing.
They won't deliver this. They
No,
won't
they
deliver it
can't.
because Biden he only has 1 foot into this. You have some rank and file Democrats that understand this is critical. 18 million people can't afford their drugs. Biden has 1 foot in that, and it takes 2 feet to make something like that happen.
Absolutely.
Farron, thank you for joining me, okay?
Thank you.